Marty, take us through the process though. If I've got a property that I think maybe I want to sell it through auction, I call you guys up. I call up Sage Auction Solutions. What happens?
Well, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to ask a lot of questions. Because one of the things that we want to find out about is, first of all, what are your goals and objectives in selling the property? Can we meet your goals and objectives in selling this property? What type of asset do you have? Is it an asset that's going to lend itself well to an auction sale? And then we're going to look at probably taking, once we get through that process, we're going to look at taking a closer look at the property. We're going to get boots on the ground, inspect your property, take a look at the asset, and then probably report back to you some of the things that you may not know about it, because sometimes you don't always are up to date on everything that may be going on with your property. And we're going to give you a report on that. Then we're going to give you our estimate of value, what we think that we can achieve through an auction sale. And if we can get together on that, then we go forward and put together a complete proposal on the auction process from start to finish. We're going to give you an itemized budget on what the marketing costs are going to be. And then we're going to give you a timeline on when we're going to conduct the sale and how that's going to go. And then from there on the closing and when you can expect to get your check at the end of the day.
All right, Marty, here's a question I know you get asked a lot. See how you answer this one. What percentage of appraised value do you receive from an auction?
Well, you're right. We do get that question a lot. And one of the things, the first thing I do is say, really, it's kind of the wrong question, because it really depends on the appraised value. I'm a certified general real property appraiser. I review a lot of appraisals. I'm licensed in a couple of different states. And so one of the first things I do is examine the appraisal, and sometimes the appraisal can be, off by 50–60% of what the market really is. Appraisals are kind of like computers, junk in, junk out. So if you don't have good comps going in, you're probably not going to get a good value coming out. So to answer the question, I say, we can achieve 100 to 110% of appraised value, or we can achieve 60% or 50% of appraised value. It depends on the appraisal and how relevant it is to the market. The first thing that we really want to do is take a look at the property, put together our own market analysis, and tell you what we can achieve at auction sale, through an auction sale. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do for you as an asset manager or as a banker, is to take a look at your asset and say, this is what we think we can achieve. Now, whether it's 100% of appraised value or 70% of appraised value or 110% of appraised value, well, that's kind of up to you. But what we can do to achieve, what we can achieve through an auction sale is the most important answer I can give you.
So you put your own marketing data together, then you go through your own marketing process. What are the costs associated with that marketing process?
Well, roughly it's about 1%. That's a rough number, 1% of the value of the property. But, it depends. If we're doing a ballroom type sale where we're doing multiple properties, then we can reduce that cost way down. But one of the things I can assure you is the first thing that we do after we go through that process is we put together a detailed plan that spells out what the costs are going to be. And you'll be able to chance to take a look at it. You'll be able to say, geez, that's too much, or that's not enough here. And we certainly take a look at what your recommendations might be, although we kind of feel like we're the experts at that.
Well, being the experts then, what makes the auction successful?
Well, I think you got to start with the client. You got to start with what are their goals and expectations for this particular property. And once you've ascertained those, then of course it's world-class marketing, so that we're doing, and we don't just do online marketing, which is really kind of the great thing right now. People are talking about all the social marketing. We do that, certainly that's a big part of it, but we don't neglect our print media, traditional media, because you really can't neglect that. One of the things that we're looking at is saturation marketing. We've got to get those sellers at the sale so that we can have as much competition for your property as possible. So really ascertaining the client's goals and objectives, really great marketing, and then the third part is we've got a great auction day team. I mean, those guys can excite a crowd, and we can get people excited in your property again, and that's really important.
Okay, someone's sitting back and they've got some properties. They're thinking of moving them, they're thinking of selling them. What properties are best sold at auction?
Well, again, the first thing I always say that any type of property can be sold at auction. It depends on what your goals and objectives are. But there are some properties really which lend themselves better to auction sales than other. And one of the things that we talk about is competition a lot. We've spent some time and I've talked a lot about competition. So one of the things we look at is a property that's going to generate a lot of competition for it. I mean, if you bring me a property that no one wants, and that maybe one person in 10,000 is going to be interested in bidding on, probably not going to be a very successful auction. But if you bring me a property that is going to have a lot of competition for it, your asset manager's been getting a lot of calls for it, that property is going to do well at an auction. Generally speaking, they are any kind of income producing property, hotel, motel, C-store, gas station, car wash. Those type of properties that are going to generate income are typically highly in demand and are going to generate some competition. Therefore, we can get some people bidding against each other.